friends, are y'all busy? Okay, good. Because while I was minding my business being nosy, I done found out something I really think y'all need to know. So I know the setup looks a little different today, friends. I just could not get myself on the camera, babe. I didn't want to scare y'all. So I just put this little chill, low-fi picture together and hopefully it'll suffice. But yeah, let's get into it right away. Y'all remember we was talking about the Mayan calendar and the doomsday prophecy of 2012, December 21st, 2012, and how that correlated to the Ethiopian calendar and how all the calendars are pretty much based off of religion, beliefs. Let's keep going down that rabbit hole because it gets deeper and you start picking apart things. You're going to be like, oh, wow, oh, wow, oh, wow. Half of the time these folks ain't know what they were talking about. People be changing stories left and right, and we just be believing everything. Whatever the masses believe, that's what we believe. And I really think we need to stop that. And even if you are going to just, go along, get along, because it's just not that deep to you, at least you should know the truth, right? Based off of history and what it tells us. See, it's a bunch of fine print they know we ain't going to read. But I'm going to read it because I'm nosy and I want to know and I got questions and I need to know. I need the answers. So let's talk about it. First of all, the Mayan calendar has several parts to it. It's like a big wheel. They got Bach tunes, cop tunes, all kinds of tunes. Okay. I'm not going to get into depth about how to break all of that down because we're going to have to sit down with a ruler, a calculator, get my glasses on, be on camera, get all 10 of my fingers and toes to figure that out. Okay. But just know the Bach tune is the long count. Okay. That is what supposedly ended on December 21st, 2012. The long count. The long count is like 5,814 days, something like that. Let me look at my notes. 5,800 days. Okay. Sorry. 5,125 years. Forgive me. I was way wrong. But this long count is supposed to signify a new beginning or the ending of creation, right? Not like creation is going to be destroyed and start over. It very well could have been, right? Very well could have been. But it just signifies another start. So at the time when the Mayans did this calendar, it wasn't even theirs. Okay, let me just tell y'all that one. It wasn't even created by them. It was by another civilization before them that they borrowed some stuff from. So again, we looking at these civilizations like they just starting stuff up. No, they're getting their stuff from somewhere too. But they were at the time thinking they were on the fourth creation of mankind. So we should be now in the fifth creation of mankind, which is also the 13th or 14th Bakhtun because they counted the first Bakhtun as 0. So if they did, and we're 13 Bakhtuns in, that's a total of 14 of these cycles. Hope that makes sense. Anyway, so they predicted that the mankind was going to, creation was going to start again. And when we got to December 21st, 2012, I remember in the U.S. it was crazy. Everybody had these signs. So we're going to end. Apocalypse. Jesus coming back. La, 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 la. None of that happened. Nothing happened. Okay, nothing happened. But when something did happen, it was like 2019. And y'all know what I'm talking about. As my friend put it on TikTok, the great cootie release. Baby, when the cooties came out, it came with a fierce punch. Just like, everything changed in 2019. And I remember a lot of people saying, wow, I wonder is this really the 2012? We joking about it. Like how we thought Y2K was something. We thought it was going to end then. We thought it was going to end in 2012. Oh, but it was 2012. It just wasn't 2012 here in the U.S. It was 2012 in Ethiopia. And it's not because there's a time machine that you could just go back in and they living in a different. No, they have a different calendar. Okay. Their calendar and our calendar are based on the same thing, just two different facts, right? Two different assumptions. And the reason why I feel like Ethiopia has it right is because they are one of the oldest countries to not have been colonized or taken over by another group of people with a different story. And y'all know what happens when people come in and conquer the land. When they conquer the land, they change it to what they want it to be based on what they think, right? That's what happens when you get conquered. And that is what's happened all over. Except for in Ethiopia. They have one of the oldest cities, Axum. Okay? And one of the oldest Bibles. So we're going to talk about it. So basically, in Ethiopia, December 2019 for us was 2012 for them. It was around November 2012 for them, based on when Jesus was born. Okay. So if you don't know, the Ethiopic calendar is based off of Jesus being born in 7 BC. BC stands for before Common Era. Some people like to call it before Christ. And AD stands for after the birth of Christ, or in the year of our Lord. Right. Those are the two denominations of that. Right. Or you might see ACE, after the Common Era. Anyway, so Ethiopia has Jesus being born in 7 BC. The Gregorian calendar, which most of the world operates on, has Jesus being born in 1 AD. That 7-year difference, that 6 to 7 year difference, is the difference in the calendars, which means when everything got crazy in the world, it started out in one portion of the world. We ain't got to go into depth and all of that, right? That was in December. By January 30th, that was like a day or two, maybe like 4 or 5 days a week before the whole world shut down. January 30th, 2020, by the Gregorian calendar, by the world, was December 21st, 2012 in Ethiopia. 12/21/12. Based on the Mayan calendar, the beginning of a new creation, the start of a new creation, the end of mankind, the coming to the end of something. That's what was happening. Okay. So, coincidence? Maybe. I don't really believe in a lot of coincidence. I believe everything happened for a reason. That's just my thoughts. Don't mean I'm right. It's just my thoughts. So let's continue to dig into that, though. Looking back at it, Pope Gregory the 16th. Sorry, not Gregory. Gregory is the one that introduced the Gregorian calendar. Pope Benedict the 16th actually came out some years ago. God rest his soul. He came out some years ago and said, you know what? I think we had it wrong. I think Jesus was born around 7 BC based on research, based on scholarly research. Jesus wasn't actually born in 1 AD. Okay. So that is a part of where the time starts, right? But as far as how the calendar works, that is based off of solar cycles. So the Earth orbits the sun every 365 days, points, 365 point whatever. We have a leap year every 4 years. We add a year to a day to the calendar. That's how it works on the Gregorian calendar, right? February, sometimes it has 29 days, and every 4 years it has 29 days, and other than that it has 28. Well, the Ethiopian calendar has every month of the year having 30 days, okay? And then they have an extra month. They have a 13th month that has 5 days. And their new year starts September the 11th, okay? So they celebrate New Year September the 11th through the 12th, and then they celebrate Jesus' birthday on January the 6th. Okay, so that's the difference in their calendar. Now, the reason why I'm just going so hard with the Ethiopian calendar is because they have some of the oldest things there that have remained the same over, centuries. And to me, the closest that you can get back to Jesus being born, the more likely I am to believe what you say you heard, right? Because as the story goes on and on and on, if someone say, I wrote this story about something I heard about Jesus, and I wrote this story in, let's just say they wrote this story in 1300, the year 1300, versus somebody who wrote the story in the year 500, I'm probably going to be listening to the one that was written in 500, because that's closer to when Jesus was walking the earth, right? So let me keep going, because y'all gonna be blown away. Just be prepared. Be prepared. When Jesus was walking this planet, folks still believed that the earth was the center of the universe. Okay? They believed that all the planets revolved around the earth. And there's even some scripture that may support that, right? Like a flat earther, someone who believes that the earth is flat. And then that changed in 1543. Okay? So all these changes to the calendar and how we map the stars in the sky and all of that can cause us to be off by some years when we talk about predictions. That's all. That's the point that I'm making, friends. You can't really say that down to a T that we're living in the exact date and time based on when we started counting and tracking time, right? Because we count and track that time based off the movement of the planets and when people's beliefs started, right? For Christianity is Jesus, and that's just what the Gregorian calendar is based off of. Pope Gregory introduced that, right? Then you have other calendars that are based off of different beliefs, like the Islamic calendar. They're in a different year too. It's 1445 for them. Theirs is based off of a different belief. It's not about Jesus. Theirs is based off the Prophet Muhammad's journey. Okay. Chinese, the Vietnamese calendar, those calendars are lunisolar, meaning that they're based off of the moon cycle, right? And not necessarily based off of how many times the Earth's orbit around the sun. I mean, there are so many different calendars, friends. I mean, you got the Chinese calendar. That is what we know to be what our zodiac calendar. Okay. Vietnamese, those calendars are lunar calendars, right? They're based on the cycles of the moon, not necessarily the cycles of the sun. It's called lunisolar. But I'm really saying all this to say, friends, that when these predictions happen, they might be a few years off. They might be a few months off. They might be some days off. And that's because there's been so many changes to the calendar. There's been so many changes to the way we count things. The Julian calendar, which was before Gregorian, was based off of what Julius Caesar came up with, right? And that is the calendar. How can I say this, friends? Calm down, Mo. That calendar was like 10 days off. We was losing 10 days every year. The seasons were starting 10 days early. So the fall equinox, summer equinox, winter solstice, all of those different dates were off by like 10 days. I feel like I just said it backwards. Friends, I got to calm down. I get too excited and I start saying things wrong. But y'all know what I mean, right? Everything was starting 10 days early. So Pope Gregory was like, let's change this. So imagine how much time we lost then. Okay? But overall, the general consensus is that the Mayans got it right. The Mayans got it right. Not only did they get it right, friends, they knew how to track and accurately map the stars. They mapped the stars, the months, the days, how long it took the earth to rotate around the sun. Like, they got it down to a T. So if they're saying that something's going to start over at a certain time, I'm probably like leaning towards what they're saying, because these folks are what we consider to be not primitive, but not as technologically advanced as we are. They got it right. Every day I come outside and I look up and I say, oh, there go the disco star. I don't know if that's the same star I saw last night or not, because I ain't even paying that much attention. These folks ain't have nothing to do with their time except for hunt, according to history, protect their land, and look at the stars. They won't love and hip hop going on. They won't watching television. You get what I'm saying? Y'all get what I'm saying? So let's go back to how the Ethiopian calendar came in with the assist, with the alley-oop, like, y'all got it. Here go the date. Right here. Right? The Ethiopian culture, speaking as far as Christianity is concerned, is one of the oldest Christian countries in the world. You know what the number one country is that's the oldest? Armenian. Armenian people have the oldest Christian culture outside of Ethiopia. I know you didn't think that. But hear me out and hear me good now. I love it when you can go back and find stuff and realize that something hasn't been touched or tampered with or changed much. And that's what you see in Ethiopia. So many people are like, oh, you're going to believe in Jesus and you believe in Christianity. And, slave owners taught that to the slave. Christianity did not originate with slave owners. It did not originate with European settlers. It came long before then. Long before then. Okay, you have books that have been removed. You do have that. You have the Bible itself being translated in the King James Version. But here's why I like what Ethiopia has to say. Because their version of the Bible, I said version. Calm down, girl. Calm down. It's 800 years older than King James, than that version. Not only that, they have some radiocarbon dating to prove that. So the Garima Gospels in the Ethiopian Bible were written in 500 AD. That's only 500 years from when Jesus was supposed to have been born. Okay? We're rounding 507 years, whatever. And apparently, this was brought to Ethiopia by a saint by the name of Abba Garima. And he wrote this gospel in one day. Apparently, it says that God stopped the sun and let it be daylight while he finished this. And this Bible has been protected by the monastery monks, as you would call it, the Ethiopian church. Since then, this Bible has illustrated pictures in there. And they still have this same Bible today in the year of our Lord 2024, or so we say. It's 2016 for them right now. So, friends, would I believe that one? Or, you get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? So when they say that Jesus was born in 7 BC, I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. And the reason why it matters is because the Mayans predicted the end of a cycle in 2012. The end of that Baktun cycle came in 2012, and 2012 happened for them in 2019 for us. And that started an entirely new cycle for us. NWO, New World Order, whatever you want to call it. Another thing about Ethiopia that really intrigues me, friends, is that they supposedly house the Ark of the Covenant in their holy ancient city of Axum. What is the Ark of the Covenant? What is the Ark of the Covenant? I was going to say Axum. That is apparently the box that holds the 10 Commandments that Moses went up on the mountain and got from God. They apparently have that Ark of the Covenant. Now, that's supposed to have been lost. The Philistines came in and did a little rah, rah, rah. That was supposed to have been lost. But apparently they say they have it, guarding it. In addition to that, Ethiopia is also referred to as Cush in the Bible. Nubia, Axum. So it's just too many receipts to be thinking that they don't know what they talking about. I believe they know what they talking about. Okay? So I feel like their truth may be the closest thing we have to accurate. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's got to be the closest thing we have to accurate. It's the oldest thing we have and the most untouched history that's there. Now, in closing, friends, let me just say this. The Mayans were able to predict when they were going to be invaded, the seasons, the stars in the sky. And they did all of this with very little technology by our recollection, right? By our discoveries and what we discovered. Honestly, I feel like they were very far advanced and they had help, right? From otherworldly beings or angels or fallen angels. Like, they had something. But scientists were able to track back that their last creation cycle, their last long count, their last Baktun started in 3114 BC. August the 11th. That's the date that they found. And you want me to believe that because December 21st, 2012, 12/21/12 was off by 6 to 7 years, that they got that prediction wrong? Or were we just off by 6 to 7 years because we kept changing the calendars based off of who was in charge, whether that be Julius Caesar, Pope Gregory, whomever, the church, anything. So I think that was the beginning of New World Order. I think that was the end of a cycle. I think the world as we know it has definitely changed, and I don't think anybody can argue with me about that, because there's a huge difference. And it's just been a cycle and season after season of change after change. And maybe the change has been for the better, but it's definitely felt like it's been for the worse. I don't know, friends. It could just be me. Everything is high. Robot chickens are being produced. People are eating them, including me. All kinds of things are changing. Morals, values, the children, technology advancing beyond what one person could even think or imagine. And I mean that literally. I can think something and then boom, it's on my phone. Okay? So, keeping up with the times, not the Kardashians. Friends, I really ain't got nothing else to say. I hope I didn't get y'all up in too much of a tizzy. Even if I did, I'm going to call y'all back later on, okay? Bye, y'all.